We don't have a warm-up today because today we are going to be testing your predictions for your RA if you haven't yet. I think only one group tested theirs yesterday, so the rest of you will be testing today, hopefully, assuming that you have a prediction done. I had several people test yesterday in my other classes. I think only one group did it in here, but so far I've had two groups that were only 1 centimeter off with their predictions, so we'll see if anybody else does that or gets it exact. But today you're going to test your prediction from part 3, and then you have to write your conclusion. Your RA is due by 11:59 p.m. tonight, so you need to make sure to actually run the test today so that you can finish the RA and get it turned in on time. If you don't run it today, it is going to end up being late. While you're waiting to test your prediction, again, hopefully you already have that ready. If you don't, that's what you're doing right now. But while you're waiting, if you didn't finish the card sort from yesterday, you can open that up and work on that. If you haven't finished all of the questions in the RA, the other portions of it, you can open that up and work on that. Otherwise, you can work on the unit summary because your test is next week, next Thursday. And that unit summary, if you choose to do it, I would strongly recommend that you do it because it is a good review for the test. But in addition to that, it is a redo for a daily grade. If you have a failing daily grade, maybe you forgot to do one of your homeworks and you have a 0 right now, then you can use that to replace that grade. Or you can use it, and it is also bonus points on your test. It says that in there, and if you opened it up, it has a calculation in there that will calculate how many bonus points, but it's up to 5. If you get 100, you'll get 5 points. Added to your test grade next Thursday. So that would be another thing for you to do. If you are done with everything else, you could do that. The only other thing I could tell you that you might choose to do, and this is up to you, and this is really if you're done with everything else, is that you could look ahead at the notes for Monday because we have one more topic. We're only going to cover it for one day. But if you want to look ahead at it, it is relative velocity. There's an assignment on it as well in My Open Math. And relative velocity is on the test. However, it's not in the unit summary because we didn't have it on last year's test and we honestly forgot to add it to the unit summary. But we do have the assignment in My Open Math. So the only place you can practice the relative velocity is in My Open Math. But there is practice on that as well, and there are notes in my slides. So you're welcome to look ahead if you want. Otherwise, you should be working on your RA, your card sort, or your unit summary. After you test your prediction, you are going to be writing your conclusion. It's very short. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So again, this is the RA document that you're working in. Okay, and what you're doing today, if I scroll all the way down, this is the part 3, so you should have already filled in your calculations or prediction, your graph, whatever it is that you use to make your prediction should be there. And some people use data tables and diagrams and all sorts of stuff. This is the conclusion. You'll notice it's very short. Okay, so all you're doing for the conclusion is you're putting in your start position for card 2, and again, that's the number that I gave you, that I assigned you based on your group. So like if you were group 2, for example, you would be putting 2 meters. Okay, but again, that's what you base your prediction on. So you're just typing it in here again. This is your prediction. Okay, I'm going to ask you what your prediction is prior to actually running the test, but you need to have it filled in here as well. And then the actual position is what you're going to get whenever I actually run the test, and I'll be writing that down on my notes also. So make sure that you fill that in because you need these two, those two right there, in order to answer question number 1. Question number 1 in the conclusion says, how close is your prediction? Calculate your percent error and include it here. If you guys don't remember the equation for percent error, it was in your notes the other day, the first week. We did some notes. I think we did it on the Thursday or Friday of the first week. But this is the equation for percent error. It's going to be the actual value that you measure, okay, so what we actually find, minus the value that you predicted, your expected value, divided by the expected value times 100. So you're trying to figure out how far off you are in a percent form. This is absolute value, so you can't get a negative. It's just going to be, hopefully under 5%, okay, but it's going to be a number between 0 and 100 because it's a percentage. But that is what you're going to fill in for your percent error. And again, you want that to be as low as possible. So again, actual minus expected, absolute value of that, divided by expected times 100. And you can look back at your notes, or you can ask me again. But you're going to put that in here, and then why are some reasons that you were off? Now, some people weren't off by much, okay, but so far everybody's been off by at least a centimeter. So some of you might have more to write there than others, but why you're not exact, we did the math wrong. That's not what I want. And hopefully that's not true. But give me like experimental reasons, just things that are kind of more out of your control maybe about just the setup of the experiment itself, and how you can fix that. Okay, I mean, you could put math error in there too if you want, but again, I'm looking for more of errors with the design of the experiment, or errors with the measuring tools, or errors with just the ability to conduct the experiment with the conditions that we had. You're welcome to include other things, but I really don't want, we just guessed. That's not what I'm looking for, okay? So anyway, that is the conclusion. It's just those two parts. And again, please double check all of these things in the rubric prior to turning it in. Make sure that you have done everything you need to do to get full credit, okay? The rubric goes all the way down. It goes on to a second page because it's a little bit too long for the one. So again, check that. But all of this needs to be turned in by 11:59 p.m. tonight. And again, right now you are working on either making your prediction if you haven't yet. I'll call you up to test as you are ready. And then otherwise you're working on the card sort or the unit summary, or maybe you are already done with those things and you are looking ahead at relative velocity. It's entirely up to you. But again, this is going to be due, the RA is going to be due by 11:59 p.m. tonight. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to get some stuff set up so we can run some tests. And you guys just need to be working on one of those things while we are running tests.